Well, Cam, the Contender Series not too far away. I mean, we've known a little bit about this for a while, but you're a week out now. Things are getting very, very real. How is everything feeling at this moment?
Yeah, it's feeling good. Everything's firing. Like the body's starting to peak. The fitness is where it should be, and especially the mind. I think my mind more than anything is ready. It's something I've been gearing up to, and I've taken this very, very seriously. So I'm ready to go.
Knowing you were getting this opportunity so far out from the opportunity, I guess how do you approach it?
How did we approach it? It was just like a standard 8-week training camp here, but it's a little bit more specific, so we could start the specific work for the opponent from the very start, which I think helped a lot more.
Versing a South African Chad Hanekom, I believe his name is. I'm sorry if I butchered that. What do you know about that guy?
We know that he's tall like me. He's about 6'3". Looks to be quite a strong guy, quite physical. Coming from a gym in South Africa with a lot of other big physical blokes, so expecting a bit of a dogfight.
Yeah, you do mention you are very tall for, well, I guess a lot of middleweights these days are kind of getting up to your size. Length, for people who haven't seen you fight, what can they expect from you?
Or they can expect a very versatile fight, whether it's the ground, standing on the cage, striking. It's going to be. I'll have every answer for what he throws at me.
Were you expecting the Contender Series call on your road to the UFC, or were you hoping for maybe a direct path with Sydney kind of on the horizon?
I kind of knew in the back of my head I was going to be going on Contender Series, just where my record is and my age and the gym I was fighting out of. I felt like that it was going to be Contender Series rather than straight to the UFC.
How has training camp been? Obviously you spent a little bit of time back home in Australia, a little bit disrupted, or was that kind of it all just flowed seamlessly?
No, I just flowed seamlessly. I still have high level guys I can train with over there, and it's kind of nice because it's just staying with mum and dad, so I didn't have to work. Get a little bit of a sleep in each day, but still getting all the work in.
With your fight only a few days out from Sydney, what is that week looking like? Not just for yourself, but for the gym. Because I imagine you got guys coming over to Collingwood as well.
Oh, it's pretty big week, and because we got now 6 guys on the UFC card, plus me, plus Eternal Boys, and I'm the one to kick it off. I'm the first cab off the rank, so I don't feel like there's pressure, but I know if I set us off to a good tone, on a good note, it's gonna be a great week.
Tell us a little bit about your journey to get to this point in your career. What brought you over to New Zealand? How much do you feel like you've developed since you've been here? All that kind of fun stuff.
Well, when I came over here, I'd been training for about maybe 6 years, and now I've been here for 4.5. So it was pretty much half of my career I've been here, and it's obviously if the amount I've developed in the 4.5 years here is tenfold compared to what I was developing in Sydney. But in Sydney it was, I was still getting good training in with my coaches and stuff, but where I'm training at now, it's a lot more professional. That was the first thing that I picked up as soon as I got here, was this is an actual professional team, the same way you would have a professional team act if they're playing rugby or playing soccer or something like that. Everyone turns up on time, does their warm up, does their physio, does all the proper stuff, proper nutrition. So that was one of the biggest game changers for me, was just treating like a professional, and obviously putting that work in has yielded the results.
Yeah, I guess how tangible are those results when you kind of go back and look at where you started to where you are now?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they've manifested and they've come through maybe the last year or so. Obviously we had COVID and stuff, but that didn't stop a lot of us during COVID. We still kept that professionalism, training every day, twice a day, still eating great, and not blowing up and taking care of our bodies and stuff. And then as soon as COVID was done, we all started getting fights, banging them out. And yeah, it's those who stuck with it during COVID, you can see where they're at now, and such as myself and Kevin and a lot of the other boys, and people in Australia and New Zealand who didn't really, they've kind of fallen by the wayside.
In terms of the Contender Series, it feels like it's a a little bit of a different beast opposed to just any other MMA fight, because they do put such a focus on getting finishes. Does that factor in at all? I know you're probably wanting a finish every time you go out there, but kind of knowing that that's what they're looking for.
100%. Like that's a factor in the preparation that we've done, especially the specific work I've been doing with Coach Mike on the pads and stuff. We are looking for a finish, but of course, if you force the finish, you usually get finished yourself, or it doesn't come. So we've got a good game plan.
In terms of the Contender Series, I guess just looking at the athletes that have come from there, just what is your view of, I guess, that process to get into the UFC?
I know that if you're selected for the Contender Series, like they put a lot of stock into you, and they're investing a lot of time and money into you, so they obviously see something, and it's very important that you give a good performance, whether it's win or lose, because that's what they're after. This is how they're trying to find the next champion.
And you mentioned the Eternal card before. Do you know how many guys are actually going to be fighting on there? I feel like I know Brogan's fight kind of fell off. Is it just the Balkan Bear?
As far as I know, there's 2 on there. Brogan will get a matchup at some point. There's still about 10 days out, but I'm sure all those middleweights out there in Australia, New Zealand, Asia, welterweights who want to move up to middleweight, fat light heavyweights who can lose weight, don't be scared. There's a guy who'll fight you.
Excellent. I guess just lastly, since you have come home, how has the energy been in this place? Because there's so many guys fighting that week.
Oh, it's insane. I flew in on I got home at 2 a.m. or something, and training the next day was at 9 a.m. I was pretty tired when I got to the gym, but as soon as I got to the gym, it was just completely forget about the flight coming over, the 6 hours of sleep. I was straight into the thick of it. Yeah, it's huge energy. It's contagious. Yeah.